Okay, starting again. Welcome. Are you good, Joe?
I'm good.
Welcome to Explore Big Sky with Hoary Marmot. And today we are happy to interview Josh Blomquist, who is a general contractor in our area. We like to call him the Conservationist Contractor.
That's right.
Josh, could you tell us a little bit about your background, please?
Sure. I grew up in Colorado working for my dad and with my brother, doing construction at a young age. And probably some of that conservation ethic, I guess, was instilled in me by my dad, because he was like, use everything, don't throw anything away, make the best use of whatever you got. And so anyways, at a young age, I think I got interested in trying to build as efficiently as possible. I just carried that on through adulthood and just always trying to learn the most I can about how to build a better box, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And you're giving us a little help today with our tinder box.
That's right. This is a town of builders. Gallatin Valley is awash in builders right now. You seem to be cut from a different cloth. Tell me how you became sort of a bleeding heart environmentalist.
I don't know. I guess
my
dad, but also I guess we spent a lot of time at our cabin it sits at 11,000 feet in Colorado. And so we were outside, out in the woods a lot, and just appreciating, I guess just being out in the outdoors and then learning all that's happening to it as I got older. And I guess people throughout my life have influenced me on how our food is grown. I worked on a CSA, community supported agriculture farm in Fort Collins when I was out of college. And I don't know, it's just, I did some work with AmeriCorps, where we did community service projects, all up and down the West Coast and some in Colorado, and
all admirable. But there wasn't a moment that you can pinpoint?
I think it was just a compilation of all these things, right?
Building a house, mid house build. He was like,
yeah. Well, but also I guess my mind is always I have a degree in civil engineering from CU Boulder, and I just think that my mind just kind of puzzles on where does all the energy go in the world, and how do we use it, and how can we use it better?
Yeah.
And the resources that we have.
Yeah.
And the resources that we're running out of.
Yeah. And I think it's just always been very apparent to me, in building and just through life, that we have a lot of inefficiencies out there, gross inefficiencies that we can do better, you know, in so many different ways. So I don't know. I guess I've just always been observant of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sets you apart for sure.
Well, thanks.
You would not like my parents' house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge, and it's
excessive.
In Alabama. It's excessively big, and it's always kept at 67 degrees in hot Alabama summer and things like that. And I'm just I don't want to know your power bill. But yeah, they should totally get solar at some point. But yeah, I walk in, I'm like, this is not efficient.
Well, they're not alone, right? I mean, that's kind of the American way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. That's what I feel like I've been observing. And it's
don't judge, but just hey, how can I help you?
That's become the dream, right? You dream to have enough money so that you can afford an inefficient home.
Yeah, right.
Basically.
And then you buy in certain subdivisions or neighborhoods where you can't build below they have a minimum lot or size that you can build.
Yeah.
Or the always people building for resale in mind. And not necessarily what's going to work best for their needs.
Right.
Or budget, or
what's the best investment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's let's build to the neighborhood for resale purposes. So there's a whole structure in place of why we build the way we do. And not a lot of it's based on why can we make it more efficient,
Yeah.
Very little. I mean, they're trying to change the codes and whatever, but there's a lot of pushback against it.
Very rarely is that the priority.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the pushback coming from?
Well, I think, I don't know, like it does cost a little bit more.
Mhm.
So like the bottom line of big developers is probably,
Cutting costs.
yeah, they're always trying to build to the lowest
Mhm.
that they can to bring the cost down as much as possible so they can make the most money.
Sure.
Right.
Um,
Just like earlier when I was talking to you about how expensive solar would be to install because we got a couple of quotes and you're like, yeah, but then after that's paid off,
after
then
those 6 years, then it's just making you money
we're
every
just
day.
putting stuff back into the grid.
Yeah,
I know. It's really hard to think 6 years from
it is.
now.
It is.
What are some of the cardinal sins you generally see in the construction industry? And we're all using reclaimed burn wood, et cetera. But yeah, what are you seeing in the construction industry where you're just like, I wish this one thing, or these few
I
things.
think one of the biggest impacts that we could, if we could change one thing, is like the windows and doors that we install across the board
Mhm.
pretty much suck. Like they're just not good.
Not insulated,
No,
not efficient.
we don't really make good glass in the US, and that would be huge if we started producing domestically, like triple pane, well insulated,
Wow.
thermal edge spacers, like good glass here in the US.
Yeah.
Like the house we just finished up by Bridger Bowl, they're trying to get it passive house certified, and there's only certain windows that'll meet that criteria for this climate zone, 6A or B, I forget what it is. It's a pretty extreme climate that we live in, and we had to get the glass from Europe, because we don't make it well enough here in the US.
That's crazy.
So we're just all losing tons of climate control, basically.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah, and energy is just like, it's kind of like trying to hold water in like a colander,
Yeah.
Okay.
Like literally we're pouring energy into our houses and it's just going straight out the windows.
I know. Oh no, yeah. We've got Pella, which is like supposedly a good or a decent one for here. It's like double pane, but like we have nothing extra. And if I put my hand near the window on a really cold day,
it's cold, right?
Feeling it, a little cold.
And that's the thing too. Like humans are very perceptive to radiant heat or cold.
Yeah.
Like we feel that very well. We're good at sensing that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the criteria of passive house is like no interior surface can drop below, like, I forget what it is, mid 60 degrees or something year round or above. So that
just hovers right at that.
Yeah. Like including glass, glass.
Bill would be so low.
Oh my God. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
it's worth getting the European glass at that point.
Well, you feel the comfort of it is the thing. Like you don't feel cold or hot necessarily inside these homes that are built to those standards.
Yeah.
And it's hard to put a price tag on that, like
the advantage of being passive certified is for resale value of your house, or why do I want that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why someone might want a house built to passive house standards. Is mostly like energy efficiency, comfort in the house, hygiene, like there's not condensation or mold occurring in the house.
Yeah.
And just building resiliency, like it's going to hold up to extreme weather events better than just a typically constructed home. And as
like
far
the
as
negative 40s that we had earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
our house is not okay. I had plants die by the window. Like they're just so
it's nasty.
cold.
Yeah.
Negative 40.
Like, get it. This is not insulated.
No.
We had frost on the inside of our house.
But this house that you're describing is the exception, not the rule, right?
Exactly.
And the Gallatin Valley is being developed right now at breakneck speed. I'm guessing a lot of the new construction is not necessarily taking into consideration the environmental impact.
No, I mean, the construction industry in general is extremely wasteful.
Yeah.
And it is challenging to do it well to a point where you're not being wasteful. I mean, it's kind of set up that way. Like it's hard to buy exactly the amount that you need for a certain, you do the best you can, but there's always going to be some waste, right?
Unless you're us. I feel like we really hit that sweet spot because we bought it ourselves for the flooring. Sorry. We did like exact measurements.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can nail it,
Yeah.
but
DIY.
yeah. But no, I mean, just recently my wife and I had to do like a 1031 exchange for my mother-in-law. She sold the property in Colorado and we looked to reinvest it here in Montana. And like being a contractor, looking at all that's out there right now in the valley, it was just kind of like disheartening, to see it was all the same. Like, not very well insulated attic or walls, same crappy windows in all the walls, and there were very few exceptions to that.
And you can't retrofit a house and get it to that passive standard, right? That seems incredibly difficult.
It's hard, but you can. There's things that you can do. And I mean, there's always a spectrum, right? Like there's standard construction and then like passive house standards, know, and anywhere in between. The closer, whatever you do to try to work closer to getting more energy efficient, like you're going to improve the quality of the living situation in the house, So, there's things that you can do. You can replace windows. That helps if you can find decent ones to put in there. And there's European tilt turn hardware. Have you seen that? The tilt turn windows?
No.
The ones with the crank?
No, those are like casement or awning windows. And
Okay.
those are pretty good. They're better than double hung or sliders, but I'm talking like.
Are these sliders? What are these?
Those are double hung.
Double hung.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the tilt turn windows, they open like a door or they tilt in at the top like an awning window, kind of the opposite of an awning.
Okay.
So anyways, they seal really well all the way around. And there are some options that are like triple pane vinyl at a decent price point that you can get and put in. And we did see one condo complex that had those currently, new construction. I told my wife, I was like, we got to go look at these places because they have these windows. Like no one puts these windows in.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that was one bright spot out of all the places we looked at, but
the rest horribly depressing.
Yeah. But I mean, there's things you can do. There's like window inserts, like interior storm windows that you can put up that they just give another thermal break between the outside and your crappy windows and the inside. Right.
And that's a temporary thing that you do.
You could do it seasonally, like put them in for the winter and then take them out for summer so you can vent them,
Yeah, we don't open our windows much in the winter.
No. No.
Let's look into it, Joe. Let's look into it.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
So you do sustainable building. What are some of the practices that are kind of across the board that you do with your projects that you've incorporated in there?
Yeah. So like when you build to a energy efficient standard, like you try to make the envelope as tight as possible so that there's not just drafts coming and going. So you're controlling the ventilation of the building. So an essential component is you have to have mechanically and ventilate the building. So like that's usually a energy recovery ventilator, a ERV, or a heat recovery ventilator, HRV.
Oh.
So you're basically mechanically like sucking stale air out of the building all the time and bringing in fresh air from outside.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so like basically what that gives you is healthier air to breathe inside the house.
How do we do that? Can we add that to our house?
You can. You can add that to your house. And like you said, you don't open your windows at all in the wintertime. So we're all closed up.
Just sucking in some radon,
Radon, carbon monoxide,
Yeah.
from your gas range or water heater, whatever, furnace.
Husband. Yeah.
Husband. Other things from your husband.
It's just carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Sorry,
monoxide.
guys. I'm a dirty factory over
here.
CO2 machine.
But it is nice to get fresh air, in through the building.
Yeah.
Year round, really. So that's like a must-have component of a tight envelope. And then
keep it basic. Or is it a bigger houses, smaller houses?
Well, like at my house, it's an older house built in 65, and like your house, it's already built, finished everywhere. So to add stuff like that, the way we would in a new house is kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
But there are some options. Like what I did in my house is they have these fans that just work in tandem. Like you can buy them in pairs, and you just I put them kind of diagonally across my house. So they work in pairs diagonally, and one's exhausting, one's bringing air in.
Yeah.
And then they switch every minute or something and go the opposite direction.
Oh, okay.
And they have this ceramic core that the indoor air, when it's exhausting in the wintertime, heats that ceramic core up with the heat from the air in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it switches after a minute and instead of exhausting, it's bringing it in, that preheated ceramic core that was just exhausting
warms the air,
preheats the cold air that's coming in. So it's kind of a slick way to retrofit that kind of ventilation system into an existing home.
Yeah.
Without,
I want one of those, please.
Yeah.
We'll add it to the wish list.
To the list, yeah.
And put that on.
My birthday present was a fancy water filter.
Yeah.
So like we're adding things here and there.
Right.
Yes.
But
keeping
there's
out the microplastics.
Yeah, there you go. But the low hanging fruit, like another one is like for existing homes is just more attic insulation, right? Because in the wintertime, especially if you're bald headed like me, you feel the cold that just pours out your head, right?
Yeah.
Houses are the same way. Heat rises. So if you think of like just trying to hold that heat in as much as possible, blowing more attic insulation into your attic does not cost that much.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty low hanging fruit one.
Okay. And let's talk about these innovations, what do they do to the cost of my home if I'm building it and I want it to be a lot more efficient? Are we talking a lot more money?
I mean, so what I always tell clients is that you put your money where it makes sense first, early on, which in my mind is putting it in the envelope of the building, which is, when I say envelope, I mean like the exterior walls, ceiling, roof, and windows and doors.
Okay.
So like, it's like the blanket for your house, right? The parka for your house. Put the money into that first, and then second, your mechanicals, which is like the HRV, how you're heating and cooling your house, and maybe solar, right? And then once you got those two covered and you've got those sufficiently funded, then you look at your finishes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because finishes can be changed out or easier later on, right? It's a lot more difficult to change out your entire window package later on, or your wall assembly, or your roof.
Yeah.
I'm
holding out for like this one window we've got, and then we'll assess the rest of them. But the one in front of the sink is just, anyway, that's neither here nor there. That window
Michelle's going to hop up on her soapbox here.
Listen, now I'm going to hop on my windowsill. That's what I'm going to do. But anyway, no, I think that, yeah, a lot of people can't necessarily afford to do an entire, home upgrade.
No.
But, bit by bit, is that something that you've come into people's homes and done, like smaller projects, and said, okay, well, we're going to take these chunks, or do you mainly just focus on the whole house?
Yeah, I mean, I've done the spectrum. Yeah. I mean, most recent years, it's been just new construction, some remodels, but, and the remodels are like either we're gutting and redoing the whole thing, or just pieces, like you said, but yeah, every little bit helps. And absolutely, it's expensive and overwhelming to look at the whole thing and say, oh my gosh, how do I fix this thing?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to do the best you can.
Well, with a lot of, it's not new age, but, with a lot of new ideas comes a little bit of pushback. Have you felt any pushback from the building community? Have you petted some people's fur backwards?
I haven't really felt that too much, but
not rocking any boats.
I don't think so. But we are going to, there's a builder training that's this Friday, actually.
Oh.
On like this kind of stuff, energy efficiency.
How great.
And it's basically presenting like A, B, and C. Like, this is standard construction, this is middle of the road, and this is like top of the line, like the best you can do. and they wanted a house to tour. It ideally under construction, but I don't have one under construction, and the one that they had fell through. So we're going to go tour that house up by Bridger Bowl.
Oh, nice.
And talk about building science and all these kind of things. So I hope there's going to be builders there that this is new to, you know, and they're like sponges and they want to learn about it.
Right.
Would be ideal. But I imagine we'll probably have some pretty good discussion on all these topics.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I just love, because that's the thing. I mean, if we just keep building the way the standard practices, it's
not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. No, because we don't have the resources to power all these homes.
No. And as our weather becomes more extreme, like this winter with the -40s and whatnot, and then our summers might be a little crazy hot and stuff like that. Like, it's important to think about insulating your house correctly.
You want to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's make it about us. You have toured our house now. We walked around. What are we doing wrong here?
I mean, I wouldn't say you personally are doing anything wrong.
We moved into some wrongness.
I mean, we all have, right? With old homes. We're all limited.
This house. It's
the location, like neighborhood, everything you love. So it was built in 74, right? And obviously the windows were replaced, and I'm sure they're better than what was there originally.
You'd have to assume.
Yeah, so that's good. I looked in your attic. I don't think it would hurt to put in more insulation up there. And like we talked about, more soffit vents and maybe some solar powered attic fans.
Yeah.
Like the turtle vents.
So it's poorly insulated, poorly ventilated right now.
Yeah, your attic is poorly ventilated. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
If you wanted to ventilate the living space, you could do that. Because you have a crawl space that I'm sure you could fit an HRV or an ERV in there. And a lot of times they'll just install them where you do a intake from outside, an exhaust to the outside, and then you put the supply and return into the ductwork of the furnace system that you already have, the forced air distribution that you already have.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So
you writing this down, Joe?
It's being recorded.
Okay, fine. Duly
noted.
We're sending it out in broadcast.
Yeah,
I know, but like I'm gonna have to rewind it, stop it.
And you already said you've got the induction cooktop coming.
Yes.
Any day, right? So
can't wait.
Replacing that gas range with an induction cooktop will help. You know, you said your son is dealing with asthma, right? So that's a good thing.
But yeah, I think a poor air quality usually gets him, or a cold, but he's not like an everyday inhaler. But I've noticed if I'm using gas a lot, if I've got the gas fireplace and things like that, he'll have like a little cough that kind of pops up, and I'm like, interesting. So yeah. And then of course all these articles have come out about gas ranges being not so great for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah. Which, like I said earlier, it's not shocking. Like every other gas appliance, you have to vent to the outside by code.
Yeah.
So I've always thought that was kind of strange.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'll love the induction cooktop, especially since you're already using cast iron. It just works. It's fantastic. Really yeah.
Okay. Great. So you'd suggest people go induction route?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, so when I built our, I think I told you on the phone, but I built a shop, an apartment behind our house in 2019. I had a gas boiler basically installed, and I was reading this book by David Wallace Wells, An Uninhabitable Planet, Uninhabitable Earth. It was a climate change book.
Yeah.
That was given to me, I think. I can't remember. Anyways, I was like, I can't put this gas-fired boiler into this new building. Like, I can't do it. So we took it out, put in a heat pump. I researched all this stuff. I put solar on the roof, and I'm so glad I did, because it's amazing. It's like now, whenever the sun shines, even if it's like partly sunny, like
you're banking it.
Yeah. A day that's like, say the high is only like 32 and it's partly sunny, I can still break even. Like, it's amazing.
Wow.
And like, instead of consuming gas and putting those pollutants into the air, it's like really just creating electricity, and those heat pumps pull the heat out of the air the atmosphere and put it into the building. Like literally just transfers it from outside, puts it inside, like a refrigerator.
Yeah, I love that.
See, that's the moment you should have told me about earlier.
What's that?
The epiphany.
The
The realization.
Oh.
that would have been the moment.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's had dozens of them, Joe.
Yeah,
Tell
there's
somebody
just
you
they just
should've.
add up.
Every day a new
You
epiphany. I'm so
should've.
Yeah.
tired
No.
of having these epiphanies. Oh.
That book sounds great. I don't know. I'm scarred from The Long Emergency. When Joe and I first got married, his dad gave us a book called have you heard of it?
The what?
The Long Emergency.
It's about peak oil.
It's about peak oil
Oh.
crisis, but also about like just the earth just falling into the magma. It's a great way to start a marriage for
It
sure.
wasn't like a feel good welcome to marriage type.
Yeah.
book,
He gave
but,
it to
you
us
know,
and
it's
said,
very
"Listen."
practical. My dad is practical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was like, I will give each one of you guys some money if you read this and give me a report on it. And neither one of us did the report, but we read it. And then in the back of my head, every once in a while, I'm like, we're all doomed.
I read that book and then I'm like, I have 2 young daughters, I'm like,
Yeah.
what kind of future are we leaving
Oh, God.
behind for them?
So hard.
And I'm like, I got to do the very best I can every
Right.
day and try to be part of the solution rather than the problem whenever I can.
Yeah.
And so, I just started research and I was like, I got to do it for my own sanity.
Right.
I know it's a lot easier to like just look the other way and like kind of just ignore it, I guess. But at the end of the day, like I just can't. I'm like, I got to do all I can, learn all I can.
Yeah.
Try like working with these like solar heat pumps, whatever, so that I can direct my clients in the right direction that want to try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And or just an example. Cause like, I'm like, okay, I'll learn all I can and then talk about it whenever I can, like this on the podcast, and just share like my story with other people. Like, I guess I could be an influencer, but not get paid for it.
No, you should be. And I think that there is something to, maybe there's a business in retrofitting, older homes and trying to help them become more efficient as well in the area, and looking into legislation and saying, okay, because I know that there are tax cuts for certain things. Like I think even for redoing your windows and that are horribly inefficient, you get some kind of tax break. But there should be a tax break for people who are retrofitting their home to be a more efficient, sustainable home.
Folks like you who are cursed with this pesky conscience.
I know.
Uh-huh.
Such a pain in the ass. No, there are a lot of incentives in the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah.
For like installing heat pumps or windows or
I don't know,
improving your insulation. Induction cooktops might even be in there. You might want to look at that.
High five. Let's save some money on taxes.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, because there's a really good deal on heat pump water heaters right now, I think through either Northwestern Energy or the city of Bozeman.
Okay.
To replace your electric water heater, which is what you have in your crawl space, with a heat pump water heater, because they're like extremely more efficient. Like,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And you get $3,000 to replace it, which pretty much covers the cost of the unit and the install.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. Yours is in the crawl space.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
So that might be.
We have 2. We have one
two,
here and then one in our. We have our own water heater.
Oh, you have
the master.
And then
the add-on they put.
Oh, yeah. And your hot tub. You got to figure out that hot tub.
We do.
We got a lot of issues.
We got a lot of issues. Sometimes I wake up like 3 a.m. I'm like, that hot tub is costing.
It's very old.
Money. But yeah, we'll find a different hot tub. I would like, me personally, they have hot tubs that are heated. Joe does not like this idea. By like, there's cedar hot tubs that you can heat with like a fire or coal situation.
I mean, I love it. Sounds romantic. I just don't like the idea of having to build a fire every time and an hour and a half before.
They do make those. Yeah. Snorkel stoves. My friend used to have one. He doesn't have it anymore.
Oh, good to know.
Insane.
Too much work.
Yeah.
Too much work. Okay, fine.
Unless you're like running a glamping situation for people and you're going to be doing this every day, and then I don't know, whatever.
I feel like you run a glamping situation for me on a daily basis.
All right, so let's be done with the questions now. We did walk around our home. I hope you were paying attention, because the final step for you is a dumb game called Our House is a very, very, very,
very
silly house. And
Is this a test?
This is a test.
Oh my gosh. I didn't study.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have told you, but I thought it would be more fun this way. All right. There are 2 mounted animal heads downstairs in what we call the wildlife room where the breakers were. Do you remember what the animals
Oh
are?
my God. No.
I feel it with taxidermied animals because I'm like, people won't stay longer than like 4 days.
I took video of you with every answer. So I'm going to show
hilarious.
that right now that you were in the room, probably that you looked at them, but you don't remember.
Was it an antlered marmot?
No.
Dang it.
You're kind of in the ballpark.
One was a badger.
One is a badger.
Which is a weird gift because Joe was like, what do you want for Christmas? And
you like, said non-antlered?
No. It's a non-antlered badger.
Okay, and one's not a marmot?
Nope.
Oh.
We don't have a stuffed marmot. We just have a stuffed badger. I don't think I'd be able to do
it because I have so much guilt over the badger.
Named Chauncey.
Chauncey.
Yeah.
Chauncey tried to kill me.
And a mounted deer head as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you shoot the deer?
Bo Jackson shot the deer.
Bo Jackson.
Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, my parents were like, "Here's
the family friend, the Bo Jackson."
I only shoot.
Wow.
Does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Fun fact.
Yeah, my dad sent it to me. He was like, "I got too many taxidermied things. Do you want this one that Bo shot?" And I was like, Joe's like, "Yes."
With a bow.
Wow.
He like only bow hunts.
Yeah.
That guy
think to be cute. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another question you might not get. There is a giant, and I mean huge, painting of a farm animal in our bedroom.
Was it a pig?
No, but it was a cat.
I saw Miss Piggy in the bathroom.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
We'll get to that. Also, there's a Star Wars character next to my son's sink upstairs, the closest bathroom. There are actually 2 Star Wars characters. Can you name either of them?
Well, the little robot, the can on wheels, R2D2.
Yes, very good.
Yes, I got one right.
The other one was Chewbacca.
E2.
Chewie. All right.
Yes.
All right. Very nice. See, you were paying attention.
Okay, now here's one I know you'll get. Name 2 of the 3 Muppet characters in our bathroom, which is a Muppet.
Kermit the Frog, for sure, and Miss Piggy.
There we go.
Thank you.
What was the third?
Gonzo.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was right there. There's their sort of Muppet corner is what we call that.
It is. And if you notice, there's an open space that I'm waiting. I'm getting Pepe the King Prawn on the other wall. And
I love it.
Nobody needs to know that. So much information. All right, there on the toilet downstairs, there's a sticker on the lid of that toilet. Do you remember what's on the sticker?
No.
Okay.
Downstairs?
Yeah.
I did notice a sticker on the boys' bathroom.
Oh, what was that? Same thing.
It was something about it was a Harry Potter thing, wasn't it?
Ministry of
this
Magic.
way to
this way to the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah. There you go.
The one downstairs is a squirrel. It may be the squirrel from Christmas Vacation, is it?
I don't know.
It's just a squirrel, but it catches me off guard sometimes. It's terrifying.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
All right, there's only one more.
My older son has 3 rappers posters on his wall. Could you name one of them?
Oh my God, I didn't even notice.
That's fine.
Also, his rug.
Yeah, he's
a giant rug.
Eminem
for a rapper.
Close. Starts with an M. The MF Doom. He's big into MF Doom.
I've never even heard of them.
He has
I don't know.
Yeah, like a 5 by 8 foot MF Doom rug.
That's awesome.
He has Tyler the Creator poster and 21 Savage.
See, all those just went right over my head.
You'll have a teenager soon. They're going to be like, you know what? This is how.
That's why I saved it for last. That was the most difficult one.
I mean, I have 2 girls, right? If there was Taylor Swift on the wall, I would notice that. Probably.
I'm trying to get my boys to like Taylor Swift.
We're dragging him kicking and screaming to try to like Taylor Swift. It's weird.
We're both Swifties.
Whatever.
Joe and I. So
that's anyway. it. No more questions. Sorry for
Those
putting you
are
on
good.
the spot. Josh, thank you for being here, walking around our house.
Thank you for doing what you do for our community.
Oh yeah, you bet. You're welcome.
And we're hoping to get more people to do this to their homes when they're building here instead of doing horribly inefficient homes.
And if you're interested, reach out to Josh Blomquist.
Yeah,
Maybe he can help you get to your end goal there.
Yeah, and if you're going to start a new house project, like it's best that I'm involved from the beginning. Once pencil goes to paper and the design starts happening, that's when I can make the best
So when the
recommendations at
blueprints
that
are
point.
being
Yeah.
drawn up.
Before the design is like totally wrapped up and done,
Yeah,
it's best if I'm involved during that process so that I can help direct
absolutely.
as far as like materials, shape, aspect, how to be cost effective yet,
Right.
efficient and resilient and maintenance free as possible, all that stuff.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time.
You bet.